Yo, what's going on everybody? My name is Sage and welcome to another video everybody. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to shade skins properly. Now, as you guys may know, today is Halloween, which is why I've got the costume on, so I'm sorry if it looks a little cringy. This is just all I managed to come up with for this year's Halloween. So, that being said guys, as you can see here, I've got a whole bunch of skins to go over. This is recommended to me by a lot of people. I've been making skins in Pixel Gun for years. And, I've just found it necessary that I should definitely make, tutorials on how to shade because people always ask me how to shade. So today, in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 different methods of shading that you can use in Pixel Gun 3D to help improve your skin quality, to make it look better, and how to make everything just seem like you know exactly what to do every single time. And eventually, it gets so easy to remember, like the muscle memory, you just get it down like that. Eventually, it just becomes so easy that you're able to do it every single time. So I hope this video does help you. If it does, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel because I do post videos every single day. And yeah guys, without any further ado, let's get right into this video. If only you realize, don't you lose sight of what you want. Alrighty everybody, the first method I'm going to be showing you is called double stacking. So double stacking is one of the first ever forms of shading that people used, and it's quite self-explanatory. You double stack the colors except for the two parts in the middle there, and that goes for everything on the entire side. So you go all the way around and you double stack the colors. So this is really useful for a few different things. It's mostly useful for more pixelated skins. This is how people originally shaded their skins. They wanted them to be a double stack sort of thing. So you can see it there on the face. It looks like this really odd sort of existing thing, and I'll show you. Obviously if you put a face on it, it starts to look more. It starts to look something that's more aged. It's something that people used back in the day. It's definitely not something I would recommend using now unless you were going to try and make a pixelated skin. For instance, since we just had the arcade season, this sort of template would kind of work pretty nicely with that. But it's definitely a cool form of shading. Alrighty everybody, the second form of shading I'm going to be showing you is called the single stacking. So the single stacking is like the double stacking, but it's a little bit more developed because in the beginning people didn't know how to properly get a higher shade, a 1 shade higher. So what people would end up doing was they would choose a color and they would go 3 shades higher by accident because people didn't really know how to shade skins back then. So eventually they evolved from the 3 stacking method all the way up to now the 1 stack method, which isn't too much better, although it does have more of a less pixelated look. It looks more modern, obviously, except for the side. So what I would do if you don't want to use the second color out of your 5, because you can hold 5 colors at once, if you want to choose a second color, what I would do is use the 3rd color instead, going around the sides. So this method, like I said, is called the single stacking. It works, although you will have to get another color for the middle. So you're gonna have to know how to grab another color, which is what people were starting to do at that time. People were starting to say, well, if I just tap barely above this, then I can find a color that's pretty similar to it, and then that's how you get that part in the middle there. So that's what it looks like, obviously, on the front, and you can add, I'll just show you guys, I'll put this face on all of them so you can see the differences and how they look, comparing different things. So the first one I showed you is really, really good for masks. And this one that I'm showing you here is also good for masks, but I wouldn't really recommend it for maybe for hoodies, but I wouldn't recommend it for clothes or anything. Alrighty guys, this method that I'm going to be showing you is called the crosswalk, and it's where you take the darkest color and you stack them with a space in between, and then you take the second and you go over it just like this, and then you take the third and you go over it just like that, and you do that for all the colors until you meet in the middle. So you only need 5 colors for this one. This is something I would recommend using for clothes, sometimes for hats especially. This looks really good for hats because a lot of hats tend to get lighter towards the middle. This is a method that I would not use for masks because, as you can see, eventually it just starts to look really odd. So this is something I would use for clothes. It's pretty good, to be honest, but it's not really something that I would say is really advanced. So definitely go with the ones I'm about to show you. Alrighty guys, the next one I'm going to be showing you is one that I use the most, and this one is called the pointer method. So the pointer method is sort of you use an arrow and you have one long way and one not as long way. As you can see there, you take the darkest color and you point, across, and then you use the second and you just go all around it. You don't want to put any of it on the corners. You just want to do it like this. So if you have that shape and then you use the 3rd color and you keep going around until you have just the square in the middle with the 5th one, then you've done it right if you just have that square right there. So this is one of my favorite methods to use for shading. It looks really, really good, as you could tell there, guys. It's probably one of the best forms of shading. It's really, really good for clothes. It's good for hair. It's good for skin on the face. It's literally good for everything. It's good for masks. It looks really, really good since it's such a unique way of shading. And this was actually discovered by people just like randomly putting colors all over the screen, and then they sort of like started to blend it together so that it looked more natural. So it's really, really a good form of shading. So just to show you what this method would normally look on a skin character, I'm going to go ahead and quickly make one out for you guys. So what you'd want to do, just for example here, I'm just going to layer this. Don't worry about these colors. This is just random. So looking at like what we have here, this is like what a normal character would look like. And then what I would do is I would take the character and do this. And now to show you what the hair would look like, I would have to go and grab my colors. So I actually put my colors down here. Let me go ahead and grab those real quick. So I'm going to grab my colors here. And what I do is I'm going to show you this method that I was just talking about on the hair. So it looks really, really good, especially with hair. I like doing it in this method right here, where I have one side that's a little bit longer than the other. Sometimes I put it on the top, sometimes I put it on the bottom, and then I layer it just like I was showing you before. And it looks really, really good with the method. Like once you're done, you know, it looks like honestly with these colors, the green and purple, it could be like a witch skin, but that's not exactly what I'm going for here, guys. So then you would take the fourth color, you would layer it around the top, actually the third color rather. You would layer it there, and then you take number 4, and then you put it there. That's how the hair would be shaded. That's how I do all of my hair every single time, guys. And it looks so, so good. That's like the best way to shade hair and faces. Okay, guys, the last method I'm going to be showing you is called the tooth method, and I don't know really why it's called this, but I've heard it been called other stuff before, but how I've known it is called the tooth method, and it's a really, really weird form of shading that I personally would use for faces, sometimes like skin color. I usually use it for hair, sometimes same with the other one. You can really put whatever you really want on it. You just shade everything like this really weird shape. So you have like a sort of L looking thing that curves at the end, and then you take the 2 and you layer over, and then you have that weird like Batman looking symbol in the middle, and then you only go up to the color number 3, which is kind of like obviously seems really, really low, or color number 2 rather. And you do this for everything, right? And it looks really good. This is what people do to change the hair color, for example, from like blue to yellow. If you've ever seen that before, where like the hair changes color, they usually layer like the first 2 with the first color, and then the second 2 shades with the second color, and they use this method for that. I use this method for hair a lot. I do this on skins that you typically have darker hair, because it's a lot harder to see, but like once you get up close to the character, like it sort of looks really, really detailed and really, really good. I use that a lot, like I said, for hair. And I would personally use this for either hair or clothes. I wouldn't want to use this for like a mask, because it just looks silly with a mask, to be honest. But it is probably one of the most easy but like best looking forms of shading that you can do with the skin. As you can see right here, guys, it just looks so good. Like you can do that with hair so easily, and it's so good. So just to give you guys a look into some of the skins that I have, I use so many different forms of shading on like all my skins. For instance, this one I use the number 4 one, and then obviously for some of my other skins, I use different forms of shading. Like on this one, they shaded different for the whale and the yin and yang. But if you go to like my Halloween skin, for example, you see I have the tooth method there on the back for the hair. I have a whole bunch of different types of stuff for skins, guys, and it all looks so, so good. Like here, for example, I have the Halloween skin. I have another one here which uses so many different forms of shading, guys. So what I usually do is I combine them all into one skin, and from there it just ends up looking so good, and it's so, so easy to be able to shade them. Like for instance, on some skins like with like certain colors, you don't have to shade them properly. Like white, you can sometimes just leave white, but sometimes you can shade it from a gray to a white. It depends on how you sort of feel about it. But like for example, this one, like I used a bunch of different forms of shading for like the faces and the U and everything. Alrighty, everybody, that is going to be the end of this video. I hope this video did help you, because a lot of people were requesting like the different ways that shade skins, because I always make skins on stream whenever I'm able to, and people always ask me how I'm able to do it so quick and easy. So one thing I would recommend for you to do is make a bunch of different skins, guys. Do it over and over and over again until you're able to get it down to the point where you're comfortable with doing it. And yeah, guys, I hope this video did help you. If it did, let me know down in the comments. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like on it, and also subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot, because we are slowly but surely approaching our way to 7,000 subscribers. Now, it is Halloween, everybody, so I hope you guys all have an amazing, spooky day, and I hope you guys get lots of candy, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Have a great Halloween, you guys. Hey, do you have Discord? If so, you should totally join the official Unity Discord. The link to it is down in the description. As of right now, we have over 500 members who are constantly looking for people to play with. As soon as you join, you can have easy communication with me and everyone else in the community. So, what are you waiting for, man? Go go join my Discord. The link is down in the description.